This is really, really, really funny. BuzzFeed did a story about immigration reform, okay? And in that story, the BuzzFeed article outlines how Steve King, this congressman from Iowa who we've talked about many times, he's an immigration hardliner. He did a press conference and it kind of turned into a rally. And it was basically it was an immigration bill protest. They don't want immigration reform moving forward. They believe that there is not, they just don't, they're anti any kind of amnesty, any kind of path to citizenship. You kind of know the drill, right?
Of course, yeah.
So, of course, it kind of is a Tea Party rally in a sense. Steve King has a lot of Tea Party support. There's different speakers. One of those speakers who supports conservative ideology, supports Tea Party ideology. This guy is on their side, ladies and gentlemen. His name is Congressman Mario Diaz-Balart. He's a Florida Republican. He spoke briefly. He got up there and he gave a little speech. And during that, he spoke some Spanish. And he starts getting heckled by the Tea Party protesters who start going over to him and yelling, "Learn English, learn English." They don't want him speaking Spanish there. Now, remember, this is a Tea Party rally. This is a guy who agrees with them. Don't you want some Hispanic members of Congress on your side to kind of make it seem like your motivations aren't just xenophobic, anti-Hispanic, and anti-immigration? Don't you remember when you realized as a party that you need the Hispanic vote because of changing demographics and you're just not going to be able to win with the white vote? You finally get a Hispanic Republican who likes what you're doing, and you start yelling at him to speak English and heckling the guy.
Let's be honest. This is not going to be a wake-up call for the racist ass who was heckling someone who was on his side.
Right.
This should be a wake-up call for Mr. Diaz-Balart.
Right, that he's on the wrong side.
What am I doing here?
What am I doing over here?
Yeah.
I'm supporting this, and I'm on the wrong side. A political group, a political party spends years trying to appeal to a bunch of people who basically hate someone, right? A lot of the appeal for conservative, this kind of, you know the type, not all Republicans, but this kind of Tea Party-like conservative. A lot of the appeal is we are different. We want to play identity politics and dislike those who are different. It may be Hispanics. It may be Muslims, whatever the case may be. You spend years basically appealing to them. You end up getting a group of people that just basically hate each other, right? You have this Diaz-Balart guy, and he presumably wants to, there must be some group he's not particularly thrilled with, but people don't like him because of this kind of identity game that's going on there. This is not going to help Republicans appeal to Hispanics.
Not at all.
What's really funny is in the midst of this, Glenn Beck said, hey, you know what? I actually see the Tea Party as a civil rights movement. And again, in the midst of a Hispanic Tea Party or getting shouted down, I find it very, very funny what Glenn Beck had to say. Take a look at this.
This is a civil rights movement, and you may not understand it now, but believe me, you will.
Yeah.
I asked David Barton to really watch, especially the pastors behind me, because the pastors behind me, we had talked before we went on, and they weren't sure about the whole civil rights rhetoric. They had not heard my speech.
Well, now I'm sure they're very convinced. The Tea Party, a civil rights movement.
More like an anti-civil rights movement.
That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. Unbelievable stuff.
So in a manner of speaking, he's correct.
He's correct in a sense. They certainly are addressing issues of civil rights, just in the way that was more reminiscent of those against the 1964 Civil Rights Bill.
Yeah.
On today's bonus show, excellent bonus show today. There's a bar in California which has high heel only policy for women. We're going to talk about the details. We'll talk about whether it's misogynistic or just a costume type of thing. I predict it will be interesting. We will also talk about Kim Jong-Un distributing Hitler's book, Mein Kampf, to his top associates and saying, we need to learn a lot of what's in here. And a lot more stuff. Lewis hosts the bonus show. Don't miss the bonus show. Oh, also, I got flipped off on the way to work today by a motorist. Is that the right term? A fellow motorist?
Yeah.
A fellow motorist flipped me off, raising his middle finger at me. I will tell the entire story on today's bonus show. davidpakman.com/membership. Sign up. Not only do you see Lewis host, not only do you hear the story from me about the angry motorist, but you support non-corporate media. And we need that. We absolutely need that. We'll be back after this. Plenty more.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.